is in the building.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, your favorite sports podcast. We're two sports lovers, and sometimes three, give their hot takes off the dome.
He missed it.
What are you doing, bud?
I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
Yeah, okay, bud. If you're watching in right now, Radio House Studios, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, we really appreciate you. If not, probably listening in on newrockradio.us. newrockradio.us is streaming your favorite rock music 24/7. newcountryradio.us, just implemented in the last couple weeks. Over 600 country songs on there. I love country music. You will too. Go ahead and give newcountryradio.us a little listen. We also have our own Facebook and YouTube channels for the podcast. You can find those at Off the Dome Sports Podcast, or you can find us on Twitter at @off_the_dome pod. We want to thank our sponsor tonight, Brignac Mortgage, where Sean Brignac, President and CEO, can assist you in all your lending needs for residential, investment, and commercial properties. Check out Sean on YouTube at Sean Brignac, and check out www.brignacmortgage.com. Thank you again to Brignac Mortgage and Sean Brignac for supporting the Off the Dome Sports Podcast and New Rock Radio. If you're looking to be a sponsor of the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, shoot us an email at studio@newrockradio.us or hit us up through our Facebook page, newrockradio.us. What? So as you can see, it's not just Byron and myself here tonight. For the third straight episode, we have a special guest.
3 straight.
3 straight. Save the best for the last.
Can we make it 4?
That's a teaser. That is a teaser.
We'll get to that
But
later.
yeah, if you've listened in previously, you will have heard the wonderful voice of Mr. Rebo right here. How you doing, Rebo?
Doing all right. Thank
How are
you
your
guys for having
Vikings
me.
doing?
How are the Vikings?
They look good week 1, that's for sure.
The Vikings?
They still look good.
But yeah, if you listened in previously, you heard Reese when we were doing our NFL playoff predictions, and now he's here to do some NBA playoff predictions.
He's our basketball guy.
He is
Definitely
a
my
basketball
sport.
guy.
He might follow up Lottober, being our baseball guy, and giving completely wrong predictions.
Hell yes.
Hopefully you give at least semi-right predictions, Mr. Rebo.
Yeah, I'd say like all of my predictions are like in a perfect scenario. Like if
Okay.
everybody's healthy.
Okay.
If everybo's healthy, and
We know that doesn't happen, but hey, I'll
Exactly.
give you the benefit of the
Exactly.
doubt.
There's going to be wrong ones. We're talking predicting the NBA season.
no. Not with you, there's not.
But first, before we get to NBA, let's get into a game we're going to be watching tomorrow night at 6 p.m. It's going to be the LSU Tigers traveling to Gainesville to go up against the Florida Gators. Both teams are 4-2 right now. Currently, the line is set at Florida -2.5 on the spread. Over/under set at 50.5. I would venture to say this is probably one of the most underrated rivalries for LSU. It's a game that we see is always super close, and it's always got some heat to it. The teams always seem to get really gritty in this game. Always kind of, they might throw some punches, might throw some shoes. Shout out Marco Wilson. But yeah, I think this is one of LSU's most underrated rivalries. It's always a good game when we go to play Florida.
I feel like we're always on the same level as Florida every year.
Yeah, we're always super close. Whether we're number 1 or we're out of the top 25, they're somewhere near us.
Yeah. It actually reflects historically. If LSU wins tomorrow, they're at 500 in history.
Oh,
Wow.
good stat. Statman Rebo.
It's that guy.
LSU coming off a very, very tough loss against Tennessee last week. Lost 40-13. Not many bright spots in that game. Never had momentum, especially from the opening kickoff when we fumbled it. We just couldn't get it clicking last week. So let's start with the defense. They have to get back to how they played against Mississippi State. I think that was the last time we saw our defense really, really impress us. And that's not to say they didn't do well against Auburn because, we ended up beating Auburn, held them to 17 points. But 14 of those 17 came in like the first 3 drives.
Yeah.
So if our defense can play how they did against Mississippi State, only allowing 16 points to one of the most high-powered offenses in the SEC and in the nation, I feel a little bit better about tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we got outperformed by Tennessee, but more importantly, outcoached. I think that was the first real game where we kind of had some flaws in the coaching game. A bunch of questionable going forward on 4th down, which left the defense in a bad position. And I think think coming up against Florida, we'll get back to how we were. Shake this one off, forget about it. Florida also lost to Tennessee. They kept it a little bit closer, but I think we can hang with them.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why not. What you thinking, Rebo?
I feel like Florida and LSU on paper this year, as the normal, are like really similar teams. Anthony Richardson and Jaden Daniels have very similar games. Like, yes, Anthony Richardson has a higher boom potential, but I feel like they play very similar. And I feel like after week one, Anthony Richardson really hasn't looked that great.
Yeah, you
Like
can definitely
against
see the
Utah, he
flaws in
looked
this game.
great. Like he looked. They were talking about him being a Heisman candidate, blah blah blah. But after the Tennessee game, they played week 2, and ever since, he really hasn't like been the bright spot of that team.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's also coming from the fact that they had Utah ranked quite high at the beginning of the season.
They're
a
back up
little
to 20.
overrated. I think they're a little overrated, and we've seen them kind of underperform from, I think they started at the number 3 spot, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So I mean, we haven't seen Florida, beat kind of similar to LSU. We haven't seen them beat like a really, really dominant team. Both times that they faced that dominant team, they lost. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. That's the defensive side of the ball. On the offense, we talk about them every episode, and it's because you're the quarterback of the LSU Tigers. We're going to talk about you.
Got to.
Jaden Daniels. Is he the guy who's going to lead a passing attack on offense?
I think he has to be the guy. Is the problem,
Right.
Because Nuss really doesn't take care of the ball. Isn't worried about keeping the ball in LSU's hands, and you're really wanting to redshirt Walker Howard, and that means you can only play him in 4 games.
Yeah. And he's already played one.
Yeah, and so we're stuck. We're stuck in a spot that we have to make Daniels work. And
Yeah. We don't really have a choice.
Yeah, I feel like both our quarterbacks have the same problem, but on opposite sides. I think Nussmeier's a little too comfortable, kind of gets, makes some bad decisions.
Yeah.
But he's right back at it, and then he does it again. We saw it in the Southern game. He came in through 2 picks. Daniels, on the other hand, he's not comfortable enough.
No, he looks scared for his life.
Yeah, you could see the gears turning in his head when he drops back to pass. He's like, "Oh, should I take off now? Should I wait a little more? Should I throw it? Should I not?" Also comes with the fact that his receivers have been having some problems catching the ball.
Yeah.
very seldomly do you see Daniels throw a receiver out of the break, but every time you do, they're dropping the ball unless it's like the tight end or a running back.
Which is crazy because LSU is known to have fantastic wide receivers. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. Every year, LSU has that All-American wide receiver, and they have it again this year in Boutte, Kayshon Boutte, but he just doesn't look like it. He's not playing up to his expectations precisely. They don't have the Odell, they don't have the Jarvis, they don't have the Jamar, the Justin Jefferson. That one guy they can go to.
The Brandon LaFell.
I knew that was coming. But if they can't be a passing team, they have to be a running team, right? Wrong. Because they ran for 55 yards last week. Can you win a game, especially in the SEC, while only running 55 yards a game?
Not against one of the top 2 offense in the league, Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think they also have one of the best defensive fronts, rush defense in college football.
yeah, I mean that's fair, but still, like we've got to get it going on the ground, and getting it going on the ground also adds to the passing attack because then the defense, they'll play up a little bit, play 7-8 in the box, and then we could throw it over the top if Daniels can get it to the receiver and the receiver can actually catch it.
Yeah.
So I added in a little note here after watching last night's game. Jaden Daniels kind of reminds me of current-day Justin Fields. Not Justin Fields from Ohio State, but current Justin Fields. And I know that's kind of painful to listen to, but hear me out. He wants to run first. Justin Fields wants to run first. He had 3 straight plays yesterday where he tucked and ran within 2 seconds of
With
snapping
the clock
ball.
winding down.
Yeah.
Too.
And, when he does throw, it looks good. Like, Justin Fields had a couple passes last night for the Bears that I was like, oh, that's a beautiful, like the touchdown pass. Dropped it perfectly in the bread basket. Looked beautiful. But it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. And I think that's what we're seeing from Jaden Daniels. And I'm not saying Jaden Daniels is a bad quarterback. I think he has potential to be very, very good. He doesn't have any confidence right now.
Yeah.
And I think he has to build that up. So like we do every week, we're going to give some keys to victory tonight. starting off with the first key, the one I chose, I think we have to expose Anthony Richardson. You were mentioning how Anthony Richardson looked really, really good week one and then has kind of been up and down since. He's had turnovers 5 straight weeks. LSU has a really good defense. Force him to turn the ball over. He's doing it on his own with a better defense. Make him turn the ball over twice. Cause a fumble and a sack. Make him throw an interception. Do something. Put the pressure on him. I think we can expose Anthony Richardson for who he really is. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. It's kind of like a Denard Robinson from Michigan, if y'all remember him. Like, he played quarterback,
Yeah.
and he was successful, but then he went to the NFL and never played a snap. So,
Johnny Manziel.
yeah, fair. Well, yeah, I guess. But I just don't. I don't see Anthony Richardson being that guy. And if any defense is going to show him up, it's LSU's. So, that's the key right there. Rebo, what you got, man?
My key is the defense in general. I think Matt House has been doing great compared to the offensive coordinator. I'm not even sure what his name is. But
Our offensive coordinator?
yeah.
Mike Denbrock.
yeah, he's like Matt House is definitely the better hire than Denbrock at this point.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
And so, defense. I think
We're
that
getting there.
the most underrated part of the LSU's team is the fact that this defense stopped Mississippi State. Yes, Mississippi State looked horrible in that game,
Horrid.
but every game since, Mississippi State has scored 40-plus points,
Wow.
and that's against 2 SEC opponents, A&M and Arkansas. And so
Wow.
I think, like you were saying, if we can get back to that Mississippi State week, if we can get back to that level of defense, there's no question that Anthony Richardson can do whatever he wants. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got?
I've got this one. Y'all both touched on the defense,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll take the hit and talk about the offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Daniels needs to remain composed in the pocket, like we talked about. Got to be confident. Trust your O-line. Even if they let you get sacked a few times, don't lose hope. And you got to let the pocket fully set up. Can't just take the snap, look at one read, take off and run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go through your reads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. He's got to go through his progressions. He's got to, stay calm. Stay calm, stay collected. I think that would definitely help him in the long run. So moving on from our keys, we got to do score predictions. What's actually going to happen in this game? What do we think is going to happen? Rebo, why don't you go first, man?
I've got Tigers 20, Florida 14. I don't think
Ooh.
this is a high score.
Low score.
The hiccups that you see on LSU's offense, and I really do believe in LSU's defense as well. So I'm going with a low score, but LSU's going to edge them out.
Byron.
I've got it's also a pretty low scoring game, not as low scoring as our special guest here. I have LSU 24, Florida 18.
Okay.
I think we score a little bit more. Maybe there's some field goals here, touchdown there. But I do think the Tigers come out on top because of defense.
Yeah. And I agree. I do have Florida scoring the most points out of everybody at 20. However, I have LSU scoring 28. So I don't know if that's going to happen. Based on what we saw last week from the offense, I highly doubt that'll happen. But, I'd like to think that we can figure it out. I have no they had another players-only meeting this past week. The second one of the season. And, these players-only meetings, there's two outcomes. Either the players all hate one other guy and they're trying to tell him, hey, step it up, which could be Jaden Daniels, or they all have this sense that something's going up with the coaching. What do you think, Rebo? I see the gears turning.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but all of these players-only meetings have been reported by Jaden Daniels in interviews. Is that correct?
The first one was. The second one was not. The second one was, I think, like the Colada show or something like that. Had talked about it.
Because the first one, like, it really just seemed like that, like, just locker room talk. Like, man, we really need to hold each other accountable.
Supposedly, it was like a players-only meeting between the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And I don't know if that players-only meeting was them sitting in a conference room for 15 minutes like, hey, figure it out, or if it was actually them going through drills and trying to figure it out. Like, that's a good point. I don't know what the players-only meeting entails. I've just seen reports of it.
Like, me telling my guys, like, you need to get your act together. That's not a players only meeting. Like
Right.
players only meeting is like we're all going to be in this one big hall, and somebody's going to sit up there and lecture basically.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that that's what's happening on week 4 of the season.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, but hopefully the players get some chemistry. Hopefully the receivers learn how to catch, and hopefully Jaden Daniels can stay calm, stay collected, deliver the ball how he needs to, and take off when you need to too. We're not saying don't run. We're just saying run less. But yeah, we've all got LSU winning. Hopefully that's what we see after tomorrow at 6:00. Moving on from Saturday to Sunday, game I'm going to be in attendance for. Cannot wait.
Me too.
Let's go. New Orleans Saints. Oh wait, I'm sorry. You're not going to be there, are you?
R.I.P.
No, I won't.
Sucks. Anyway, Cincinnati Bengals coming to New Orleans in the Superdome, taking on the Saints. Right now, both teams are 2-3. Very fair to say they're both struggling, underperforming to start the season. Currently, the line is at -1.5 for Cincinnati, and the over/under is at 43.5. Yeah. Saints coming off a win against the Seahawks last week, 39-32, very high-scoring game. Bengals lost to the Ravens on a last-second Justin Tucker field goal. We've seen plenty of those throughout the years, so something you can't be surprised at. What are we looking for on Sunday? What do you think's going to be? What's going to be going on in the Superdome?
What are we looking for? What am I hoping to see?
Like what's some predictions for Sunday? What do you think's going to happen?
I'll tell you what I'm hoping to see.
Okay,
Hoping to see a shootout.
Amen.
Offense battling offense.
that would be nice.
I do think Saints defense better than Bengals defense.
Don't think that's a hot take,
Bengals offense better than Saints offense.
especially with the injuries we've got going right
Yeah.
now. If y'all didn't hear the injury report today, they came out with the list of questionables and outs. Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Marshawn Lattimore, Deontay Hardy, Peyton Turner, all out for Sunday.
Wow.
They're all out. 4 of those guys, 3 of those guys are high-level starters for us. Marshawn Lattimore has arguably been one of the best corners in the league this season. Through every metric, he just looks fantastic. Deontay Hardy's our return guy and kind of that speedy wide receiver off the bench. And then Peyton Turner's a really good rotational D-end in the second year. And then as far as questionable goes, we've got Jameis Winston, Chris Olave, Marcus May, Paulson Adebo, and Calvin Throckmorton. Winston being questionable, not surprised by that. Chris Olave is progressing through his concussion protocol. Hopeful to see him. It sounds like he was a full participant in practice today, non-contact. And then after practice today, he stayed around a little bit, got some more drills in. So
Nice.
that's good looking for Sunday for Chris Olave. We're definitely going to need him with Jarvis and MT out. And then on the defensive side, we got Marcus May and Paulson Adebo both questionable. Marcus May has missed the last 2 weeks. Adebo played last week but didn't look good. He may have been, still recovering. So hopefully both of those guys can play for us. I think it'll really help out a secondary after, losing Marshawn.
For sure. Take a break real quick. We'll read a few comments.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
First one from Soundman. Going back to LSU, he thinks Daniels needs to go take a seat.
Oh, a big nuts guy, huh, Soundman?
In any other situation, I agree, but like there's not a better option right now.
Yeah, I don't think
Unless
nuts
you're
is showing
willing
us
to.
enough. And then I don't want to risk Walker Howard's red shirt.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's essentially going down to which problem would you rather have?
Would you rather lose a year of eligibility from Walker Howard? Would you rather have an inconsistent Garrett Nussmeier, or would you rather just stick with what we've seen in Jaden Daniels?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think Jaden Daniels gives us the best opportunity to
I think he's the
compete.
most dynamic out of all of
Oh,
them.
yeah, for sure.
I would say he's most boom potential.
Yeah.
I don't think he's very safe.
No.
Yeah, Walker's going to take a little time.
Yeah, for sure. Dustin, shout out Dustin.
It was his
Pels
birthday
to the
yesterday.
moon. Oh, happy late birthday, Dustin. If only you could win in fantasy football. He said Pels to the moon. We agree. Pels are playing right now against the Hawks in their final preseason game before they open the season this upcoming week against the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn. So that'll be fun. We'll definitely get to talking about that in a little bit.
And then James Luke, y'all might know him as Jamie,
Jamie.
said Winston should be QB3.
That's a great segue into what I wanted to talk about
Same
next.
here.
Jamie. Taysom Hill last week. huge,
Outstanding.
provided a huge spark for that offense. An offense we have not seen an identity from yet, and Taysom Hill gave us the identity. You know what that identity was? Give the ball to 7. That was our identity last week. Give the ball to 7. Dude had 122 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, a 22 passing yard touchdown.
What more could
He
you want?
dominated.
Yeah.
He absolutely dominated that game.
We had over 300 rushing yards that game as a team.
That's crazy. And, you know, we talked about the most quiet 200-yard game
Yeah.
of all time. But, yeah, I mean, what are you expecting to see from Taysom on Sunday? Knowing Andy Dalton is coming back as the starter, what are you expecting from Taysom on Sunday?
I think with Andy Dalton being the starter, Pete Carmichael's more willing to play Taysom in that gadget role that we've seen him flourish in. Crazy stat that I have for you: in the last 6 quarters for the Saints offensively, they scored 57 points, 7 touchdowns, and 700 yards.
Wow.
6 quarters,
The last 6 quarters.
game and a half.
So, over the last 6 quarters, they've completely changed from what they
Yes.
had been doing the rest of the season,
Yeah.
basically. Is what you're telling me.
Sputtering, trying to throw the home run ball.
Yeah.
Like
And-
they really started trying to set up an offense,
And
basically.
I kind of think that comes down to the 2-quarterback system we're using
Yeah.
right now with Jameis on the bench. Having Andy Dalton at starter, who's more of a safe option than Jameis Winston. He's not gonna take, you know, that 55-yard bomb and risk it all. And he's also not gonna throw. He doesn't throw as many picks for sure, but he also is gonna check it down a little bit more, take the safer routes. So he may not put up the yardage. He may not get as many touchdowns necessarily, but he's not going to turn the ball over. And then, like you were saying with Pete Carmichael, I think he's much more open to using Taysom in that gadget role now that, you know, Jameis isn't on the field.
You have to, because you don't have that home run ball potential.
Yeah, I think Andy Dalton starting kind of brings us back to where we're used to seeing a lot of short passes, a lot of checkdowns, but it works,
Game manager.
especially with playmakers like we have, like Kamara,
What?
Michael Thomas,
What?
Jarvis Landry,
What?
Mark Ingram,
What?
Taysom Hill.
What?
I can keep going, but I'm gonna stop.
All right.
But yeah, like we have all these playmakers who we've seen do great things from, you know, a play that shouldn't be that good. Like the screens, for example. We used to run so many screens,
Reese loves the screens.
and I do too. I mean, we're used to seeing too many of them. Now we're not seeing enough,
This is true.
and now
Very
we're
true.
seeing what one here and there can do. I think hopefully soon we could find the perfect mix.
Yeah. And moving on from that, actually, perfect segue again.
I'm good at this.
Reese, you are good at this. What's your key to
Train.
winning this game for the New Orleans Saints?
Well, I've got multiple keys.
Okay.
Throw the slant,
Throw the slant.
throw the screen,
Throw the screen.
and throw the double move.
Throw the double move. Okay.
And
So I
that's
go-
what sets up your home run ball instead of what they've been doing with Jameis at quarterback and just trying to throw the home run ball without setting up the
Setting up the
meat
home
and
run ball.
potatoes.
Yeah. Like we were kind of talking about with LSU, you got to run the ball to pass the ball.
Exactly.
And with the Saints, you got a short pass to long pass.
And run. Please run the ball.
Please run the ball as well. Whether it's with Taysom running the QB power to the right or left, Kamara, Ingram.
Soundman says, train hype, everybody do a shot. I'm sure they could all hear. Watching at home, a train did just pass by.
Yep. We're not going to do shots. Everybody take a sip of water.
Oh God, that was loud.
There you go, sound man. How's that feel? All right. So, yeah. Moving on to your key, Byron. What we got, man?
Back to when I was saying, please run the ball. Mine's let Kamara cook.
Hey, as long as he's better than Russ. Because what Russ been cooking is Vienna sausage and crackers.
Just the juice. Yeah, the sausage juice.
All right. What's Kamara cooking on Sunday?
Hopefully another 200-yard game.
Would love it.
You know, we're used to seeing more of a receiving game from Kamara.
Mhm.
And now we're just moving into some rushing games.
I have no problem with it.
And I love it, yeah.
Shout out to Kamara. He's good. He is one of the best dual threat running backs.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And I think it comes down to, just his ability to stay up. I don't think we see another running back in the league who has the kind of balance that Kamara does.
Yeah.
Like, he can get hit from 4 different people at the same time and somehow stand up through it all and keep pushing.
It's not necessarily like he's breaking the tackle. He's
Right.
just
He's just not
absorbing
going
the
down.
contact
Yeah.
and keep moving.
Yeah, and I think that's something we need to keep seeing out of him. Last week he was healthy, and he did what he did.
It looked like he was healthy.
So if he stays healthy again, we might see more of the same.
I'm hoping so.
I think with, sticking with what both of you have said, I think my key is to keep the Bengals defense guessing. Don't get into a rhythm where you're going to run the ball 7 times in a row, because we've seen that from the Saints offense. We've also seen from the Saints offense where they will throw the deep ball 3 times in a row. And once you start getting into those like sections where you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over, the defense knows what you're going to do. So I think if we can incorporate the slants, the screens, the double moves, let Kamara cook out of the backfield, we give that defense, we don't give them an insight to what we're going to do next. So if we run the ball well with Kamara, run a play action. If we're throwing some screens, maybe line up out of that same formation and take that deep shot where the defense won't be ready for it. You have a safety coming up. They're playing 7 in the box. I think it's really important for us to keep that Bengals defense guessing because they have really good athletes. Trey Hendrickson came from us, and he's playing amazing on that D-line. They've got some good corners, Chidobe Awuzie and Mike Hilton. They've got the worst corner in the league in Eli Apple. So attack Eli Apple. That's another key. That's our 4th key. We've never done 4 keys before. This one's going to open the entire house.
Put Olave.
Put Olave on Eli Apple if he's healthy, and just let Olave cook. 5th key. Wow, we're going crazy. But yeah, I think just keep the defense guessing. Don't get into a rhythm where you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. I think we have a shot. But that being said, I don't have us winning this game.
Wow.
Yeah, listen. I'm a Saints fan through and through. I bleed black and gold and a little bit of purple. But I don't see it from the offensive standpoint this game because of Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry being out. If they were in, I'd feel a lot better. If Marshawn was in, I'd feel a whole lot better.
Yeah, I think we have too many key players not participating in this game.
We're getting hit by injury city, and that's why I have us losing 27-23.
But hey, last time we had this happen, we almost won.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand
we
grenades.
took the Vikings to win. So maybe this will give us, because we have a guest on this time.
Oh,
maybe it'll give us that extra.
The Vikings?
That's all
probably
I'm
taking the Vikings.
All right, Reese. What's your score prediction for this Sunday, man?
At first I thought it was going to be a shootout, but now that I know that all of these people are out,
Switching up a little bit?
yeah, I think I might switch it up a little bit.
Okay, what are we thinking?
I think I'm going to go Bengals 30,
Okay.
and I might keep the Saints at 24.
24 to 30.
Still a little bit of a shootout.
Still a high-scoring game. We both have
but
the
I had
total
a lot.
going over 43.5. But,
I think we all have it.
Yeah. Speaking about all, what you got on over there?
Not much.
All right.
You want to know?
I would love to know.
All right,
I think
sweet.
the people would love to know.
I also have the Saints losing this game. I just think playing a tough opponent in the Cincinnati Bengals.
Made it to the Super Bowl last year.
I think we're just playing them in the wrong week.
Fair enough.
I think if we have our players healthy, probably give a different prediction. But I'm going to go Saints 20, Bengals 24.
You know, it sucks to tell these people that we all have the Saints losing. It does. I hate it. But,
When you have 4 receivers out.
yeah, and you have to be unbiased in the media nowadays, right? You can't have any bias in the media.
Don't tell my NBA predictions that.
Okay, buddy. But yeah, we're gonna stay unbiased. We're gonna give you the hard truth here. We don't have the Saints winning. However, I'd love to see it happen, and the dome will be rocking
Oh, yeah.
when Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase come to town. So hopefully we can show them up a little bit.
Before we move on from the Saints, Bryce,
That's me.
I think it's time you should announce our show tomorrow
Oh,
and who our special guest will be.
This is a really good time to do it. and
It'll
I
be an
will do
early
it.
show.
It will be earlier than usual. So tomorrow is Saturday. We have never done a show on a Saturday before, but we've got something special going on.
The
So
stars have aligned.
tomorrow at 3 p.m. We just finished talking about the Saints, and we're going to talk about them a little bit more tomorrow when we have former Pro Bowler and All-Pro returner for the Saints, Michael Lewis, on.
The beer man
The
himself.
beer man himself will be on in studio tomorrow in Radio House Studios. You can catch us, Radio House Studios, New Rock Radio, Off the Dome Sports Podcast with Bryson Byron featuring special guest Michael Lewis tomorrow at 3 p.m. You will not want to miss it. This is a huge opportunity for us.
Huge.
We cannot wait.
I'm so excited.
We are itching to have him on. That's going to be awesome. So, yeah, if you're a fan of the Saints, catch former All-Pro player Michael Lewis on the podcast tomorrow at 3 p.m.
It was in right where Reese is sitting.
Yeah, I can guarantee you he'll be a better guest than me.
Nah, I don't know about a guarantee.
I can guarantee.
But we cannot wait to have him on. We are so excited to have Michael Lewis on. That's going to be awesome. Y'all will not want to miss that. Make sure to tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. Anyway.
I can't wait.
Oh, God. I'm so excited. That's going to be awesome. Moving on from, the future, let's get into the past. So, on the last episode, we gave our parlays for Thursday Night Football. And needless to say, they did not hit.
No, that game sucked.
That game, correct me if I'm wrong, that was the worst game I've ever watched.
There was a touchdown, so it was better than last week's Thursday night game.
Fair enough.
I don't know. They may have not scored that much in last week's Thursday night game, but that game was actually pretty good. It was just a defensive battle.
They scored less points this week than they did last week. Last week was 12-9. This week was 12-7. I think the first 3 quarters of last night's Commanders-Bears game might have been the worst 3 quarters of football I've ever. The fourth quarter wasn't terrible.
Oh yeah, it was
Like
it was
the
actually
fourth
pretty
quarter,
good.
it had a little excitement to it, but
They
the
had some-
first 3, and honestly, it might be a hot take, but that's what we do. I think those Bears uniforms were terrible.
Yeah, I didn't.
I
Like them that
hated them.
much. I didn't.
I know you liked them.
I turned the game on and I didn't even realize that was the
Charlie
Bears
Quaz.
at first.
The helmets weren't bad, but I think the
helmets are what I thought was
matching-
terrible.
Oh no, the helmets aren't bad.
Maybe if they wore a different jersey with them,
Yeah.
but
Maybe like all white with the orange helmet would be.
they
better.
couldn't pull off the creamsicle like the Bucks did back in the 80s.
Oh no, no shot.
But yeah, those parlays didn't hit. So if you bet them, I apologize. You shouldn't have bet them. You should have known that game stunk. But we're getting into a bet we do every episode. Well, not every episode, but every week. Our road dogs.
Ooh.
Woo woo. Give us a bark, Reese. All right. Underdogs that are going on the road in the NFL. Byron, why don't you start us off?
Oh, I'm going first.
Yeah, I mean, looking at what you got down here, the people are going to want to hear your explanation for this one.
I can't wait.
There is an explanation.
What?
Let's talk about it.
There's an elbow in your mouth, is what. So, last week my road dog was the Cowboys against the Rams, who did much more than hit. Because not only did I bet the spread, but I also, on a separate bet the money line straight up and the under, which hit. So, I have the Cowboys, who are playing in Philly against the Eagles. They're at plus 6.5 for minus 110. If you look back, the Eagles have played a lot of games close. They've won all of them, but they've played a lot of games close.
That is true. I will give you that.
Now, this is not me saying I think the Cowboys will win this game.
Are you a Cowboys fan?
Absolutely not.
You're kind of sounding like it over the
They're
past
my
2 weeks.
second least favorite franchise.
Okay. That's what they all say until the Cowboys start winning, huh?
No.
Okay.
Only if you're from Dallas.
Fair enough. All right.
So, like I said, Cowboys playing better than the bookies have them playing. Eagles still playing good, but they're playing a lot of teams close, and they're giving them 6.5 points. I think the Cowboys can keep it within 6.5 points, but I do think the Eagles win. So I'm not betting the money line, just the spread.
I do like the explanation. However, I hate the fact that you say you hate the Cowboys and you are a huge Eagles fan this year, and then somehow you're betting against both of that.
No, I'm not. I think the Eagles will win this game. Just not by more than 6.
This guy. It's like you betting against the Vikings.
No, I can't bet.
I do think it will be the toughest defense the Eagles have played yet.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think that's a debate. I think that's for sure. The Cowboys have a really, really good defense this year. That's what's winning them games right now.
Yes, exactly.
So, you know what? I respect it. I think you're probably right. I hate to say it, but you're probably
I
right.
also hate to say it, but
Love to say it.
Shut up. What's your road dog, Reese?
I've got Pats at Browns at plus 2.5. They're minus 122 odds.
Okay.
But quite honestly, I really like the money line. Like you
Ooh.
just saw the Patriots beat the crap out of
The Steelers.
the Steelers.
No,
29 to nothing.
no. It
Oh
wasn't
no,
the
that was the week
Steelers.
before.
I
It
know
was,
this answer.
It was my Detroit Lions.
Oh,
His Detroit
yes,
Lions.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Steelers lost 38-3.
Yeah. Still love them though. Still love the Lions.
And I think the Lions' offense is a whole lot better than the Browns' offense.
There
I mean,
we
yes,
go.
The Browns
Talk up the
can-
Lions, baby.
Yes, the Browns are running the ball better than the Lions right now.
Oh, Nick Chubb's having a season.
Yes, but I think that the Patriots' front seven may be able to contain him to a little bit less than what he's used to right now.
Yeah, I mean, Lions were number one scoring offense going into last week and then dropped the goose egg. So that Patriots defense is definitely something.
I mean, it's got to be something.
Just picked him up in fantasy.
Yes, sir.
It's very hard to hold an NFL team to 0 points.
Yeah, no matter how bad the team is.
Like the Lions.
So my road dog for the week is the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Indianapolis to face the Colts. The spread's currently at plus 2.5. You can get that at minus 115. The Jags did lose to the Texans last week, and the Colts did beat the Broncos. However,
I think any team that plays the Texans just gets cursed to score very low.
yeah, I mean, the Texans are weird because like they tied the Colts and they beat the Jags. So you know if you think about it, Colts and Jags could end in a tie too. But I think we've seen more ups from the Jags than we have from the Colts. I think, you know, it's plus 2.5, which is a sucky number for a field goal.
Yeah.
You would like it to be plus 3.5. That way they could lose by field goal and still beat the spread. But, you know, and I was hating on the Jags before the season because I don't like Trevor Lawrence. But I think Doug Peterson has really helped turn it around in Jacksonville, and they could come out as the winners of this game. So give me Jacksonville to go into Indianapolis and at least beat the 2.5 spread.
That's a good take.
I appreciate that.
I might combine all these into one parlay.
Ooh, that would be nice. That would be nice. We might make a little bit of money. But if you weren't listening to the last episode, we started this new thing that we do. It's called Lock of the Week. And it comes from our man, Soundman.
Presented by Soundman.
Presented by Soundman, the Lock of the Week. Soundman is the best bettor I know, so I will let him make a lock every episode and see what happens. Last one didn't hit, but he said it wasn't a lock. Repeat, not a lock. Said that about 7 times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if you
This
listen
week-
to anyone's bets, if you pick one person to listen to, you should listen to his.
yeah, he's really good. He's really, really good. And I'm gonna give I kind of like this bet too.
We don't normally bet on college football.
No, but he decided to go with a college football bet. He went to the Tennessee versus Bama game this week. He's got Tennessee plus 9 and the under on 66. You can get that at plus 264, combining into a parlay. I don't think it's I think it's a pretty good bet.
I
Tennessee
agree.
was very, very good.
I think-
Bama has not looked great.
I think Tennessee's the better team here.
Yeah.
And to
think-
give him 9,
9 is a lot, so I love that. I love betting the Tennessee spread. The under, it's a little iffy, but you know, most of the time when we say that, the under ends up hitting.
Yeah.
So Tennessee plus 9 versus Bama and under 66 combined into a parlay get you plus 264.
Do we know if Bryce Young's back?
I have no idea. With a name like Bryce, there's no way he's out.
he was
I mean,
out
he
last-
missed last week with concussion, I believe. No, shoulder soreness, and so
Yeah.
from what I've heard,
He doesn't.
that
No,
takes a
Bryce's
little
don't
while.
miss the big game.
And so I honestly, my bet this week is probably gonna be Tennessee's money line.
Money line.
They looked horrid against
Horrid.
Texas A&M.
A&M and Texas.
Yeah, I mean, Bama hasn't really looked that good this
No.
season. So I like Tennessee this week too. You know what?
Bama's defense is shaky. They gave up 24 to Texas A&M team that's been struggling. They're on they swapped quarterbacks twice already this year. And yes, you're missing Bryce Young, your starting quarterback, but that doesn't affect your defense. And so if you're going against the best offense in the country right now in Tennessee, it's hard to say that they're going to stop them as well.
Yeah, you know, fair enough. You know what? You convinced me. I'm with you. I'm taking Tennessee money line too.
Let's go.
I don't know if I'm actually going to bet it. We'll see. But if I were to pick one, I'd take Tennessee over Bama. So, yep. Soundman's lock of the week: Tennessee plus 9 and under 66, combined into a parlay 264. All right, so we've got a second bet, or actually a third bet that we're going to do for B&B's bets. And this one's going to lead us into the last segment of the show where we talk about our NBA predictions. What I'm going to ask from you, lovely gentlemen, is to give me one NBA team you think is going to finish over their projected wins and one team you think is going to finish under their projected wins. I'll start us off. So one team I think is going to finish over their projected wins, the Sacramento Kings.
It's a good thing, especially with how low it is.
Yeah, they're at 33.5 wins right now. They had 30 wins last season.
I think they can sneak their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, they have a possibility to be a 10
I
seed.
I love De'Aaron Fox. They made a terrible move trading away Tyrese Halliburton. Like, that's from a talent standpoint, not
Yes.
from like a return standpoint. I'm just saying, like, trading away Tyrese Halliburton's crazy because he's very, very good and he's very, very young. However, they have De'Aaron Fox, they have Domantas Sabonis, they just drafted Keegan Murray, who I think is going to be a very, very good rookie for them. College basketball guy, how do you feel about Keegan Murray?
I didn't really watch much of Keegan Murray this year, but in the preseason, Keegan Murray has looked outstanding.
And I think when you have a young guy like that who's affecting your team like he is, it's going to help you win some games. So I'm going to take their over 33.5 wins. You can get that at minus 132. For my under, now this is spicy.
Meatball.
We're Italian.
I'm always Italian. I'm going to take the under on the Lakers wins. All right, I'm going to take the under on the Lakers wins. The Lakers are set at 44.5 right now, and I'm taking the under on that because I get it. They have LeBron, who's the second greatest player of all time. They have Anthony Davis, who's going to wear a cast for at least 60 games this year. But then, Russell Westbrook didn't look good last
They got
year.
Russ and they got Pat Bev who are
Pat
going to
Bev,
be fighting on the
yeah,
court.
they're going to throw hands at some point this year. Their team just doesn't make sense to me. They have LeBron, they have AD, and then they have a bunch of yeah. That's exactly the noise I wanted.
So tonight, the Lakers are playing their last preseason game, and Darwin Ham went up to Russ and was like, "Hey, you're coming off the bench today."
Yeah.
Because they want him to lead the second unit, be that microwave guy that we've seen him be in OKC, but he's just not clicking with the Lakers' first unit because he has to have the ball in his hands.
Yeah. And when you have ball dominant players like that trying to fight for the ball in your starting lineup,
3 of them.
it's kind of rough. Yeah. And Anthony Davis doesn't stay healthy. We know that. We know that from his time here. And, I dislike him a lot now.
Yeah, he's always in the running for the Charmin Ultra Soft Player of the game.
Typically comes in second in that, though, if Jay Crowder's playing.
Or
Jay-
Draymond.
Or, yeah, fair enough. Anyway, I'm taking the under on the Lakers wins. I might see I don't know if you can, but I might combine those into a parlay if I can. Over on the Kings, under on the Lakers. They're in the same division, so we'll see. But I just don't like the Lakers this year. 44.5 is a lot of wins for a team we don't know what we're going to see.
Over 500.
I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, Rebo, over-unders.
All right, so funny you say Dre Crowder
Mhm.
because my under is going to be the Suns at 52.5.
That's a lot of wins.
You can get that at minus 110.
Okay, that is a lot of wins.
It's a lot of
They're a good
wins.
team, though.
They are a good team. There's a lot of drama coming out of that locker room.
Jay Crowder might not be there when the season starts.
Jay Crowder's not going to be there when the season starts, and if he's still not traded, he's not playing.
Yeah.
And I really do, as much as we all hate Jay Crowder, he's an integral piece of that team. He's a veteran presence. He brings some defense and spot up shooting as well.
Still hate him though.
Yeah.
And evidently, for some reason, DeAndre Ayton and Monty Williams is his coach. They've been feuding as well, but supposedly that's over. But I doubt that. So I honestly don't like the Suns this year. But my over is the Magic at 27.5.
I like that. I really do.
27.5 is
I can't give you a reason why, but I
low.
like it.
That is very low.
It's a very low
Even
amount
for
of
the
wins.
Magic.
And we're also talking about a year that everybody's trying to tank for these top 2 prospects. And I think the Magic are so young and they have so many good prospects that
Yeah, I don't think they
honestly,
need to tank.
don't need to tank.
They really don't.
They just need a few
imagine
years
Vic on that team
experience.
though.
I I don't see Vic on that team, though.
You know what? You're right because of how many bigs they already have.
Yes.
Yeah, Scoot. Get a little bit of Scoot on the Magic.
But then you have Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs.
the Magic they have a lot of talent on that team.
They do.
They're
Yeah,
just
they're
young.
just waiting. They're just waiting.
They're building up
They're
the
ready.
chemistry.
Cole, Jalen, John Isaac.
And I believe last year the
Wendell
Magic
Carter.
had anywhere between 25 and
Drafted Paolo this year. I mean,
22 anywhere between 25 and 22 wins last
Okay.
year. And so we're only asking 3 wins, and
yeah.
you're adding Paulo Banchero, number 1 pick.
Yep.
You're adding a year worth of development on all of these young guys. I just can't see them being
Yeah.
under 30 wins.
And John
I
Isaac
don't know
might
if they're a playoff
finally
team.
be healthy again.
Yeah.
He
And
hasn't
Cole
played
Anthony.
a game since like 2020.
And Cole Anthony missed last year.
Yeah, so I like that bet.
So
Byron, what are we looking at?
Over on the Magic, under on the Suns is what he had.
Who's your under? Because I want to talk about that over last.
My under
I like your under.
is the Chicago Bulls, who are
That's-
at 41.5.
They got dominated by a team we'll talk about in a second in the preseason.
Well, we've already seen them kind of underperform, even with this superstar team that they've built, but they won't have Lonzo for a while.
That's key. They
Big
were
part.
number 1 team in basketball before he got hurt last year.
So I'm comfortable with taking the under, especially with him missing a large amount of time. My over is our New Orleans Pelicans.
Let's go.
I'm surprised none of y'all took it.
I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, it can't be like
I'll
that.
let
I'll
you be that guy.
Gladly be that guy.
Be that guy.
I feel like their floor is like 500, and you're asking them to get 2 more games. That's not bad.
I feel like they're going to be a great team.
They're gonna be good.
Their line set at 45.5.
That actually, fun point about that. It was at 43.5 before that Bulls preseason game. The day after, it went up to 45.5. I got it at 43.5. So
Oh, lucky you.
lucky me indeed. And which 43.5 is crazy low. That's asking them to be 2 games over 500 with one of the deepest rosters in the NBA, I believe. So yeah,
Wow.
Dustin just commented with a big factor. Said Zion health is key role.
that's
Oh,
true.
yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, we've seen him not. He's had the injury bug quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the Christian McCaffrey of the NBA.
I
Saquon
hate
Barkley.
that comparison and love it at the same time.
Give him a thick boy. Give him Saquon Barkley comparison.
Okay, yeah, the same thing with bigger quads.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I like the Pels over too.
Yeah, my over for the Pels 45.5. You can get it for minus 110. Under for the Bulls 41.5. You can get it for minus 102.
Yeah, that's the thing with all of our over-unders. They are minus, but, with
You got
guessing...
a 50-50 shot.
That's what I'm saying. With guessing NBA records, you're not going to get a plus because they're putting him that close for a reason.
Yeah.
So, just if you bet a good chunk of change on it, you'll get a good chunk of change back.
Or you can bet every single over-under.
Good luck with that one. But, so, let's move out of the betting stratosphere, and let's move into cold, hard facts. Well, predictions.
Predictions.
Yeah,
Not cold, hard facts, though.
Definitely not a fact.
But we've got Reese on. We told Reese 3 weeks ago we were doing this, and he said he did not sleep that
He
night.
hasn't slept since.
No.
Oh, I've slept.
But he, we put the pressure on him to be the basketball guy. So, why don't you
Basketball
start
is
us
my
off?
favorite
We're going to
sport.
go 10-1 because 10 starts the play-in. So, in case y'all don't know, 7 through 10 in each conference plays a little play-in before the playoffs. The 2 winners have a little bracket, and then they'll make it into the playoffs. It's how the Pels made it last year. They were actually the 9 seed, ended up making it through their 2 play-in games, played in the playoffs last season. So, Reese, let's go to the Western Conference, 10th seed. Who you got?
I've got the Los Angeles Lakers, a team we've already talked about. I just don't know if... so in closing minutes, you play your best 5, right? And so the Lakers' closing lineup, in my opinion, is going to be Pat Bev, Russ, Dennis Schroeder, LeBron, and AD. And that does not
That makes me
sound
wanna
great
puke.
defensively.
That's gross.
But Darwin Ham is a great head coach. I think that he is dealt a tough hand, but I think he's like one of the top coaching prospects. But I really did want to give the Kings this spot, but I just couldn't do it with talent like AD, LeBron, and Russ if we're talking about a completely healthy situation.
Yeah, that's fair. Who you got at 10?
All right, so when we had Lato Braun talk about baseball,
Mm-hmm.
Bryce stated that he probably knows the least about baseball,
Mhm.
and he had the best predictions so far,
Ooh.
except for the fact that his World Series
We're
winner
not talking about baseball in this episode.
got eliminated in the wild
She's
card.
still talking about baseball in this episode.
Which leads me to, I'm probably the least,
Knowledgeable.
respectfully, probably the least knowledgeable one for basketball.
We still respect you, though.
Good.
Good.
At 10, I have the Blazers. You know, I don't really watch much basketball during the regular season. You know, I might find my way here and there. I watch a lot of the Pels games, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But as a NFL, I could watch the NFL all day.
Yeah,
Basketball, it kind of gets tough to sit through for me.
fair enough.
So I just watched a few preseason games. That's how I came up with this list. At 10, I have the Blazers. I think with Dame being back, it'll be a big step forward for him. I think he's such a great leader year in and year out.
He don't run away from the grind.
Sure. So I think I was also between the Kings. The Blazers and the Kings for the 10th spot, decided to give it to the Blazers.
Yeah, that's fair. They're another team that kind of has a big mix between vets and young players. They've got Dame and Yusuf Nurkic, but they've also got Anthony Simons, and they've got they just brought in Jeremy Grant.
And Gary Payton II.
Gary, shout out Oregon State Beavers.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, they've got a good mix of young and older talent. Unfortunately, I do not have the Blazers making the playoffs. I have them as my 11th team, so just outside. At 10, I have a team that I've already taken their over on their wins, so why not throw them in the playoffs too? I've got the Sacramento Kings for all the reasons I've already given. I love De'Aaron Fox as a player. I just think he's so fun to watch. Keegan Murray, I think, is going to be a great player for them. And then they've got Domantas Sabonis, who I think is one of the most underrated big men in the league. He can really do everything. He can shoot from every level of the floor. He's not the best defensively, but we've seen worse. And then he also has a little bit of playmaking ability. So I don't see a reason the Kings can't be the 10th seed. They might even move higher, but right now I've got the Kings at 10.
And at the end of the season last year, Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox pick and roll game was incredible.
Hey, why not do it again, right? So moving on from the 10th, who we got at 9, Reese?
I've got the Blazers at 9 for all the reasons Byron said. I've got them a little bit over the Lakers because I just can't see it gelling. But the only problem with the Blazers this year is their bench is pretty questionable. They have the same guy in the same role 6 through 9.
Yeah, that's fair. Their starting lineup looks pretty good. Dame, Simons, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, Yusuf Nurkic, and then off the bench it's Gary Payton II and a bunch of other Gary Payton IIs.
Well, Gary Payton II does break the mold a little bit. I give you that.
He's got more defense.
But like the rest of them, like Nazir Little and I forget the guy that they just drafted, but that Justice Winslow archetype basically.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're all the same.
Who you got at 9?
It's funny. We got a little back and forth here because at 9, I have the Lakers.
Okay.
Again, for all the same reasons that Reese had stated.
Mm-hmm.
I just see them winning just a few more games than the Blazers.
And I'm going to continue that trend. I also have the Lakers at 9.
Nice.
I think, I don't like LeBron. I really don't. But it's kind of hard to say he's not even going to make the play-in, especially if AD can stay healthy and, Russ can stay healthy and kind of figure out that offense that he didn't have last year. And I will be honest, I do like Ham as a head coach way more than I like Frank Vogel. So I can see the Lakers making. They could obviously be way better than we're saying.
Yeah.
There's no reason they can't. They have
Right,
LeBron,
definitely.
but realistically, I have them at the 9th team.
They have all the talent. It's just a matter of if they
Want
gel.
to.
Yeah.
Going to 8, I have a team that was the 2nd seed last year, going all the way from 2 to 8, and I think it has less to say about how good this team is. I think they're still very good, but they're going to be missing their second best player and Jaren Jackson Jr. So as you can tell, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. They're going to be missing Jaren Jackson Jr. for probably almost half the season, and he's probably their second best player. How long is Jaren Jackson Jr. going to be out? Do you know that? I feel like you would know.
They moved the timetable back up to November.
Okay.
So
he's
going
going to
to
miss like 2
season,
months.
but it's kind of a gray area. Like,
Yeah, and-
anywhere between November and halfway through the season.
Yeah.
They're in a
And-
good shape if he only misses 15 games, so they're not in great shape if he misses 30.
Right. And with Jaren, we know he's going to miss more games than he's supposed to. Like, he gets hurt every year. It just happens. But yeah, I have the Grizzlies going down to 8. I think they're a very talented team. They literally got the second seed last year. There's no reason they can't go do that again, other than the fact that Jaren's hurt, and I think a lot of other teams got better.
I also have the Grizzlies at 8.
Oh, look at us, Reese.
But I have them dropping from that 2 seed for all the same reasons that you have. Plus, to add on to that, they lost Kyle Anderson. Sorry, not Allen. But they lost Kyle Anderson. Great defensive wing for them last year. But they do get back Dylan Brooks, which I kind of think hurts Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain should have
That's
been
fair.
MIP last year, but he's going to take away Dylan Brooks being back takes away shots from Desmond Bain. They like to let Dylan Brooks cook, but sometimes he's cooking for 0 for 20 from the field,
Sometimes he's cooking Vienna sausage juice
like Russell Wilson.
on a stale cracker.
Yes.
That's right. Who you got at 8, Byron?
I have the Timberwolves, who had a big trade this offseason, acquired Rudy Gobert. I think that kind of muddies up the water, though, being they already had Cat. Which one do you put at which position, this and that. I do think it kind of makes them a little better,
Yeah, I would say.
just a little bit. But I think they could be a good team this year. I think their realistic finish is anywhere between 6 and 9. So I have them at 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see 6 and 9.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely have them a little bit higher, but
Their depth is questionable. Their
Yeah.
starting five's pretty nice.
moving on from 8, though, at 7, I've got a team who made it, pretty decent in the playoffs last year. Made it to the Western Conference Finals, but I think they got worse. And I think they had, this is one of those teams that everything has to go right if they want to repeat what they did last year. I've got the Dallas Mavericks. I love Luka. He's great. But everyone
He's
else.
gonna be tired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like the Lakers situation where it's like, who does he actually have around him? I know you're a big Dorian Finney-Smith guy, which he is good. I'm not saying Dorian Finney-Smith is some scrub, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's not like a third, fourth option.
You're talking a starting five like Spencer Dinwiddie, Luka, Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and
either
JaVale
JaVale or
McGee.
Christian Wood. Yeah,
They already said JaVale McGee. Christian Wood's coming off the bench, and that's a definite per Jason Kidd.
that's interesting to me.
Yeah, well, I don't get that, but it's kind of weird that it's kind of hard to say Dallas is going to flourish again when you're lose a second shot creator in Jalen Brunson, and you're only bringing in what's now a 6-man, and you bringing in a big that honestly can hold his own defensively, if we're being honest, and
Yeah.
JaVale McGee.
So yeah, I've got the Mavs at 7. Reese, who are we looking at for 7 for you?
I've got my underpick for the Suns.
That's.
Whoa.
I think
I
that's the
get that
hottest
they
take.
were number 1 team in basketball last year. There's just so much drama around this team. I honestly can't. I don't like touching them. Cam Johnson will be the starter over Jay Crowder, and Jay Crowder wants out. But then again, we are talking about a Chris Paul-led team with all NBA talent in Devin Booker, all defensive talent in Mikal Bridges. This team will make the playoffs.
Mhm.
I'm just low on them because of all the drama. I'm
hey.
not a big drama guy.
Yeah. If the locker room ain't gelling, neither is the on court, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So, that's
realistically, they're like 4 to 7 range.
Mhm.
But I'm just not I'm not big on them this year.
That's fair enough. I can see it. Byron, who are we looking at for 7, man?
For 7, I have the Grizzlies.
Okay.
for
Just
all-
one spot higher than the rest
Yeah,
of
all
us.
the pretty close to what y'all had. I think they're just a little bit. I think they have a little bit more talent than the Timberwolves, especially if Jaren Jackson's back early rather than later.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think they could beat them out for that spot.
Fair. At 6, I've got a team you've already talked about, Byron, and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Same.
Let's go. Me and Reese are lining up a lot. Basketball guys, what can we say?
Yeah, it's good to know both
But-
wrong.
You know, this guy. You know, the depth is questionable for sure. I think that is a big part of it because they traded away most of their depth to get Rudy Gobert.
Yes.
But Rudy Gobert is really, really good at defense.
really good at regular
Post-
season play.
Yeah. And, you know, I think he's gotten a little bit better offensively over the past couple of years. I don't know how much he's going to even need that, though.
He doesn't need to be.
With D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, and Karl Anthony Towns. I really like the spacing on this team, personally. I don't know if that's a hot take or what, but I think having Rudy down low, being your post guy, and giving Cat that versatility of being able to go out to the three-point. He won the three-point contest last year. So giving Cat the opportunity to move out if he needs to, whereas he couldn't really in past years because of who he had down low with him. I think it opens up a big floor for the Timberwolves. I do have them at 6, so that means they would lock up a spot in the playoffs. They don't even need to go to the play-in.
Yeah. So I also have them at 6. Just a starting 5 of D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, Kyle Anderson, Cat, and Rudy is like an amazing team.
Mm-hmm.
But bench depth, you're talking a bench unit of Bryn Forbes, Jalen Noel, Jaden McDaniels, Eric Pascal, and Naz Reid.
I like
I love
Naz Reid.
Naz Reid.
Naz Reid's good. He's a good NBA player.
He is a good NBA player. Last night,
But
he
he is-
threw it directly to his bench, his
I saw
teammate
that.
on the bench who was
Who
standing.
was wide open for a 3, by the way.
Can't win them all,
No
man.
one was guarding him.
But my thing is with the Timberwolves, my big downside, you bring in Rudy to play the 5 because Cat can't bang on defense.
Cat can't bang.
So you move Cat to the 4, and we're talking about a league that so many people are playing small forwards at the 4, athletic guys that can hold their own sometimes, but like Kyle Anderson was playing the 4 whenever Jaren Jackson Jr. wasn't playing last year. Like, you're talking about athletic guys who can get at you defensively. And I feel like Cat's a step too slow defensively, and it might be worse than having to bang with a 5.
But do you feel at all that Cat has an advantage on the offensive side?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
So does that balance out, or how do you feel?
you're talking about somebody who scored 25 points plus a game
Yeah.
last year. I mean,
And he's
you're
kind
not,
of like, in my opinion, he's moving more into his element.
yeah, but you're not gonna go from 25 plus to like he's not gonna average 30 plus. And
No,
make-
no, no,
35
no. I don't
plus
think
and
so.
make a
I
big
don't think so
difference
either,
like that.
no.
So like honestly, his offensive game's similar. It's just saving him defensively and giving him more stamina for his offensive game. Because honestly, Cat's a great player. You want the ball in his hands.
Yeah. Who you got at 6 over there?
At 6, I have the Mavericks.
Okay.
So I think it was one spot higher than both of y'all, right?
Yeah, I had him at 7.
I haven't mentioned the Mavericks yet.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think they were real hot last year. I think they have a chance to stay hot, but at the same time, they have a chance to not be so hot. So I kind of tried to put them right in the middle. I don't think they're a top 5 team if any kind of injuries happen or whatsoever.
Yeah.
They drop off a lot,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
If Luka gets hurt, the Mavs. Hot take: if Luka gets hurt early in the season and for some reason misses like half, the Mavs probably won't even make the
I
play-in.
don't think that's that hot of a take.
Like I think if Luka gets hurt, they're basically done.
Yeah, I think if Luka gets hurt, they'll play a similar game like the Pelicans medical staff did with Zion, and they're gonna hold him out as long as possible if like he's really hurt, and they're gonna go try to get their best odds because this NBA draft is stacked, and then
Yeah.
we haven't even talked about a college player yet. We're talking about 2 guys who play. One plays for G League, one plays in France, and then we're talking about 2 guys who made their own league in the Thompson twins. It's the strangest thing, but they're honestly really good.
College basketball guy.
Just basketball guy.
Basketball guy. All right, moving on from 6 up to 5. I've got a team we've already mentioned in the Phoenix Suns. I don't think they're going to drop off as much as you say, but I don't think they're a top 3 seed again. I think I think it was one of those things last year. It was like they're
Seat's hot over there.
yeah, looks like it.
Burning.
But you know, I just think too many other teams can beat them. Like I don't know. Last year, did any of us actually think the Suns would go far and like win the finals last year? Like you two.
Before we played them,
But yeah, before the
thought-
playoffs started.
Yes, I had
Yes, I thought they could go
Suns,
far.
Philly in the finals.
Okay, personally, and it was just me. I didn't think the
Not
Suns
Philly,
were going to
Bucks.
make it out the West, and I don't know what it was. They looked really good every time I watched them play, but I just didn't feel like they had like
They were 60-plus team.
they
winning
they
team.
won the most
Yeah.
games last year.
Yeah.
But it gave me regular season Saints vibes, where they finish with the best record and then they're not going to make it. Tell me I'm wrong.
okay.
You're right.
All right, there we go. But yeah, I can't count on Chris Paul. He's a winner. It's what he does. He doesn't win the finals, but he wins in every other aspect of the game.
Wins in State
He-
Farm ads
Devin-
red.
Guarantees you a playoff spot.
Devin Booker's very good. DeAndre Ayton's very good if used correctly and liked by the coach, like Reese mentioned. They have a really really good team, but I think too many other teams got better.
They are also force feeding DeAndre Ayton in the preseason right now. He has been dominant, but I am unsure of his relationship with the coach, and that's honestly a
That's
huge
important.
factor.
Yeah, who you got at 5, Reese?
I've got the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
All the same reasons. They lost Jalen Brunson, a key shot creator, secondary ball handler. They replaced those minutes with a healthy Tim Hardaway, which is huge for them. And adding Christian Wood and JaVale McGee, who JaVale McGee, I believe, might be the best defensive anchor since Tyson Chandler on that team.
He can still ball.
He can still ball.
He can. He's shacked and a fool all the time, but he's still good. Byron, who we got at 5, man?
I'm gonna go 5 and then follow it up with 4
Okay.
because I feel like these could be flipped.
Interchangeable.
So at 5 currently, right now,
Mm-hmm.
I have the Pelicans, and at 4 I have the Nuggets.
Okay.
I feel like either one of those teams can be a 4 or a 5 spot. I feel like one of them will be the 4, one of them will be the 5.
You'll see something with me in a second.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so. But
No.
I really like the Pelicans this year. Real young.
Just don't worry about it.
Don't worry
Keep
about
going.
Pelicans real young.
Rhythm and blues thing.
The seat was hot whenever we were talking about the Suns. The seat's pretty hot right now.
Okay. Pelicans real young team, a lot of talent. So fun to watch.
Oh.
Like even in preseason.
Mm-hmm. We went to the game.
Jose.
Jose.
Had a game.
28.
28, yeah.
28.
On the other hand, you got the Nuggets, who are gonna be good.
Have the 2-time MVP.
They stay healthy, gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's been a question with them lately.
Yeah.
Michael
MPJ.
Porter Jr. has been in and out of injuries.
It's just tough to come back from back surgery after back surgery like he's been having.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Which is why these could be flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think even if he's out, they still have a good chance. Because they're a really good team through and through.
I get it. I agree that the Nuggets and Pelicans could be flipped. Let's put it that way. Reese,
Definitely.
who do you have at your 4?
At 4, I have the Nuggets.
Okay.
You guys back to back, like he said. He gets his weapons back. MPJ only played 9 games last year, and they were still a playoff team.
Yeah.
And Michael Porter Jr., the MPJ. Jamal Murray, who looked like a top 5 NBA player in the bubble.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he was so good in the bubble. He
We
dropped
haven't
like 52
seen
one time.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since the bubble.
That's true.
And so you're adding those 2 dynamic players,
Mm-hmm.
and this team is really deep.
Yeah, they are.
Aaron Gordon went from being a number 1 option for the Magic, and now he's just the guy who's the defensive stopper.
Yeah, like he's like the 5th option now. 4th option, 5th option.
But he's the best defensive player on the team.
I know.
It's crazy.
Shout out to Aaron Gordon, man. I think he had a.
Love Aaron
He went from
I think
jumping
he's.
over a car.
No, he jumped over.
No,
the
he jumped
mascot.
over the
Jumped
mascot,
mascot.
as he was twirling on the hoverboard.
Yes.
But yeah, Aaron Gordon went from like this high flying, like only gonna dunk on you kind of
Losing
guy.
dunk contest to Zach Levine.
Shut up, Zach Levine. This guy. But yeah, I mean, Aaron Gordon had a really good transformation as a player, and I really like him.
Oh yeah.
Like Byron was saying, these two could easily be flipped, the Denver Nuggets and the Pelicans. I have the Pelicans as my 4 seed, and I have the Nuggets as my 3.
I have the Pelicans as my 3.
We all agree that the Nuggets and the Pelicans are super, super close together. I think we all agree that they're pretty interchangeable, and what it comes down to is health. If the Pelicans stay healthy, they're going to beat out the Nuggets. If the Nuggets stay healthy, they're going to beat out the Pelicans. And, I think the Pelicans are just... Like, I know it's a homer pick. We see Reese with his New Orleans #1 Zion right here. Oh, by the way, let's introduce our jerseys. New Orleans #1. Who we got?
I got Zion Williamson.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So
Picked it up today.
this here jersey was given to me by one of my best friends, Rebo. This is a Spurs alternate Richard Jefferson jersey.
Yes, sir.
I hate Richard Jefferson. For no specific, I think he's hilarious. Like when I listen to him, I'm like, you're really funny, but he just makes me angry, so I don't like him.
It's just the shiny head
Just
staring
The
back at you.
Yeah, he aggravates me, and it's also related to 2K, but we're not going to get into that. But yeah, I hate Richard Jefferson, so Reese got me a Richard Jefferson jersey.
Reese also got me this jersey.
Oh, Reese is just the jersey man.
It is a Ricky Rubio Spain League Barcelona jersey,
That's how he got found out.
and it might be my favorite jersey.
Nice.
It's pretty ugly, but
Oh well, yeah, but
It's
it's,
Ricky
Ricky
So is the
Rubio.
above- so is the above the rim jersey, but we're not going to get into that
It's
one.
better than that one.
All right. But yeah, like I was saying, Pelicans 4 seed. I love us this year. It might be a homer pick, but man, when I look at our 1 through 13, 1 through 14, I think it's top 3 in the league. Personally, our starting 5 can bang with anyone: CJ, Bi, Herb, Zion, Valanciunas. Like that's a really good starting 5 on every level of the floor, including defense. So
And I think our bench can outbang anybody.
yeah, our bench is really good. Our bench has really high energy, and they kind of like our starting lineup. I think they have all 3 phases of the game covered.
and
so
they all understand their roles.
yes,
Like,
agreed.
Devontae Graham's going to be that microwave guy. Jose's going to lock up your best guard.
Yep.
Trey Murphy has been shooting lights out.
Tramer.
Tramer. I'm saying it right now in front of everyone in the media. Tramer is my favorite player on the Spells team. I love Trey Murphy.
And yeah, you lose Jackson Hayes with a UCL tear for a little while, but you have big depth. Like you
Larry
have Larry
Nance.
Nance, you have Willie Hernan Gomez,
Willie.
EuroLeague MVP.
EuroLeague MVP.
But yeah, they're at my 4. At 3, I have the Nuggets for everything that Byron was saying. I just think they're going to be, what Reese was saying. I think as long as Jamal Murray and MPJ come back healthy, I think they'll be good. And I don't see why having a 2-time MVP is going to hurt you. So I'll put him at the 3 seed. And you just said your 3 seed is?
Pelicans.
There we go.
So in my little notes, I have call me a homer, but
Simpson.
this Pelicans team, like I haven't been juiced for the NBA in a long time. Like I'm normally just watching college basketball, keep up with NBA on the side, not really like watching every game intently. But like this Pelicans team has me excited for like the first time in my life. I am juiced.
I'm so excited. This is going to be a very fun year. We've got to go to quite a few games this year.
And
We've
what's
got
even crazier about what's like the craziest thing about this team?
Mhm.
Every player has had a huge offseason. We're talking about Zion being cleared to come back, and he's in the best shape of his life. Like we saw jacked Zion for the first time, and I don't think anybody wasn't excited.
And like
Yeah,
like the other night, he went down and didn't get injured. Like he got injured, he stayed out the rest of the game, but then after he was like, "Oh, I'm fine."
Yeah.
Which old Zion, with all that weight on, if he rolls his ankle, he's out 2 weeks at least.
Yeah, it looked like he hit the gym and then didn't go home. He lived at the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Pell team's gonna be good.
And then we're talking about Jonas Valanciunas balled out in the EuroLeague. Probably would have been EuroLeague MVP if he didn't get dethroned by Spain. But he also learned how to play with another dominant big in Domantas Sabonis in the EuroLeague.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
And he brought that up in one of the preseason interviews that he really did learn a lot from the Eurobasket. Then I have Willie Hernan Gomez, 1 EuroLeague MVP, and like that's not a thing to take lightly. Like, yeah,
No.
we're not talking
Don't
about.
just throw it out there.
Yeah, not only that, but EuroLeague has a lot of good players who go over there.
Speaking of, he played against Jonas Valanciunas,
Okay.
Domantas Sabonis,
What?
Laurie Marketing,
What?
Dennis Schroeder,
What?
Franz and Mo Wagner,
What?
What?
Rudy Gobert,
What?
and Evan Fournier.
What?
Those are all NBA talent, and Spain
Good NBA
eliminated
players.
Spain eliminated all of those people,
Mhm.
and honestly, they're rolling out a starting point guard of Jose Calderon, who we haven't seen in the league for 5+ years.
He's like 50.
Oh yeah, and the Spanish team really found a way over great teams like that.
It's because I'm wearing the jersey.
Then we're talking about Jose.
Mm-hmm. Love Jose.
Jose looked incredible for the Puerto Rican men's national team.
Georgia Tech, baby.
put up 20 points against the U.S. under some U.S. team. I'm not even sure who we rolled out. But he also spent a lot of time with Tony Parker this offseason.
Ooh, I like that.
Floater god,
I like that.
Tony Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And we really saw it that night against the Pistons that we went go watch. He really had a deeper offensive bag than we're used to seeing.
Oh, dude, he was hitting crossover step back threes like he was James Harden.
And he was finishing at the rim a whole lot better than he was before. Like, we knew he was hitting threes. Yep. Like, he told D'Angelo Russell, I shoot.
I shoot.
And for those of you saying that, like, oh, it's just a preseason game, probably playing against nobodies, the Pistons had basically their whole starting lineup out there for a big portion of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Who you got at 3, Byron?
I have Reese's Clippers at 3.
Seat's getting hotter.
He's pretty hot.
Explain your Clippers take.
I think they kind of slacked off because of injuries last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they stay healthy, they could be a top team. I think they can be anywhere from 1 to 3,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. They're getting Kawhi back. They're getting
Absolutely.
Kawhi back.
Yes.
Reese.
I'll talk about the Clippers when I get there.
Okay. I like it. At 2, Reese and I both agree on this one. Right?
You messed me up because you're
Oh, yeah, okay,
Byron's
okay, right
East
there, right
says
there,
the
right there,
West,
right there.
and Byron's West says the East, by the way.
Good job. Ryan.
Yes, I do agree that the Warriors are
The
a 2
Warriors are the 2 seed.
Oh, yeah,
NBA
They
champions.
they just won the finals. I mean, you can't put them that low because they just won the finals. But I mean, what bad? They don't have chemistry right now. That's for sure. Jordan Poole and Draymond getting into that fight.
They fighting.
That means something. I know a bunch of people are going to say, it's going to be figured out. It's fine. Draymond apologized. He went on the social media thing. I hate Draymond.
Another runner for
If
Charmin
you-
Ultra Soft Player of the Game.
There we go. Top 3. But, Draymond punching one of their best players in the face, and, Draymond's begging for an extension right now, basically. He's not going to get the extension now.
It might have kicked Jordan Poole into gear because did you see the moves he was breaking out in that game?
Oh,
I didn't watch him.
I know exactly which one he's talking about. So he was driving to the right. He crossed over behind the back floater looking.
Crossed 2 people up one play and hit a floater.
Dude, he literally went behind the back in the middle of a preseason game. Who does that? But yeah, Warriors at 2 seed. You've got Warriors at 2 seed.
I've got the Warriors at 2. Injuries have assisted them in getting high draft picks, like James Wiseman, Moody, Kuminga.
They've got really good young talent off the bench.
And so, you really are expecting them to have a little jump this year.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Moody a little bit in the playoffs, a little bit more than the others 2. I think Kuminga is the next Draymond Green, same hustle guy, can lock up your best player.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to score the ball, but can score the ball, like a young Draymond Green. Let's preface that at least. But unless James Wiseman makes a jump, I can't say that they're the best team in basketball again, because I honestly believe they got a great cards dealt to them in the playoffs.
That's
they did
fair.
not have to face a dominant big.
I do think they had an easier road than a couple other teams.
They played Dallas in the conference finals, who Dwight Powell was their starting big. And so, yes, you can roll out Kevon Looney to guard Dwight Powell.
Yeah.
And then they had the Celtics, who Al Horford cooked them,
In the first 2 games, Al Horford was going crazy.
But Robert Williams
Robert Williams got hurt too.
isn't
in
an
the finals.
offensive big either.
No, he's not offensive. He's very good defensively. But Byron, who do you have at 2? And then lead us in. That'll obviously lead us into your 1.
At 2, I have the unpopular Suns.
I mean,
think-
there's a good reason for it, but
I think they're going to start back up right where they left off, drama or not. Those boys can still play basketball.
for sure.
And at the 1, for pretty much the same reason, I have the Warriors. You know, still got a good team. Yes, there's a little drama, but when it comes down to it, they're going to play ball.
They have really good basketball players, and that's what it takes to win games.
Exactly.
And then Reese and I agree on number 1. We got the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, you're getting Kawhi back, who Reese has a very hot take on.
I honestly believe Kawhi's modern day MJ. Like, you're talking.
Here we go.
Hold on. Hear me out. So, Kobe Bryant perfected MJ's offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Kobe Bryant became the dominant player he was. But Kobe wasn't locking your best player up.
He was good at defense.
Yeah, but he wasn't locking your best
No,
player up
no,
like
absolutely
defensive
not.
player of the year, Michael Jordan.
No, he wasn't.
And so I have Kawhi as my favorite to be the next MJ because he creates his own shot, locks up your best player, and will make the big time shot. Raptors against Philly.
Look, I like your point from the
It was
standpoint.
a hell of a shot.
I like your point from the standpoint that he is probably the best 2-way player in the league.
Oh, yeah.
He can do anything offensively, and he's called the Claw for a reason on the
Yeah, I
defensive
think
side.
the only other one who's kind of close to being the best 2-way is Giannis, but he's different position,
Different position,
different
and
types of ball.
I think exactly.
But
Kawhi, calling him modern day MJ's crazy, I think. But I get what you're trying to say. But I still have the Clippers as the number 1 seed. Kawhi's back. Reggie Jackson has been really improving over the past couple years. Looks really good.
If Reggie
Yeah,
Jackson
and
makes
so-
it to the playoffs, it's very hard
Puts
to
those
stop him.
goggles on.
you're adding John Wall, Robert Covington, and Norman Powell to a 4 seed 2 years ago when they were healthy.
Yeah, and Paul George. I love the Pels, but
If he didn't have Kobe.
Pels don't win that game if Paul George plays. They don't make the playoffs if Paul George is healthy. So I've got Clippers at 1 as well. Y'all have heard our West. Let's move on to the East. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. The East isn't gonna take us as long because we know a lot less about the East. Because we're so invested in the West because our Pels are here. In the East, I don't think we're as heavily invested. But we still got some hot takes, I think.
Also, the West is like the scoring conference, and the East is a very defensive heavy conference.
Yeah, and who cares about defense in basketball?
I do, but
My favorite team, the Bulls. Anyway, so let's start off in the East. I'll start us at 10. I've got the New York Knicks. They're
they're there.
that's Knicks range 9 to 12.
Yeah, I also have the Knicks there.
Yeah, I mean
I've met 9.
they don't have anybody. I don't think they have one big superstar player, but RJ Barrett's on his way there. Julius Randle's still very good. Signed Jalen Brunson to a very lucrative deal. I think he helps them improve and get them back into the play-in. Who you got at 10, Rebo?
I've got the Raptors. I think this team is like not very deep, but I know, like, I get that they're gonna finish higher, but just the fact that they don't have depth, I can't say that they're that good. Nick Nurse is just willing to play them for 45 minutes apiece.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Moving on from 10, Byron, who you got at 9?
I have the Bulls.
Okay.
I took their under on wins.
Mm-hmm. I would like to say I also have the Bulls at 9.
Okay.
So we've agreed on the first 2. And then you have
I have the Knicks.
the Knicks at 9.
They added Jalen Brunson. RJ Barrett's gonna make a jump.
Yeah, I agree. At 8, I have a team Reese just touched on, the Toronto Raptors. I think they're better than 10 for sure. But I think, like Reese was saying, regular season he's gonna run their minutes up for sure. Pascal, OG, Fred VanVleet, Gary
Scotty
Trent,
Barnes.
Scotty Barnes. They have a lot of talent on that team. But kind of like the
nobody
Knicks,
behind them.
kind of like the Knicks, they don't have one superstar player, I don't think. Pascal was really good last year, but
Yeah.
they have too many good teams in the East for them to get higher than 8 for me.
My 8 seed's probably the hottest take of the day. I have
Okay.
the Miami Heat.
My seat is heating up.
I think that them losing PJ Tucker hurts so much more than than everybody making it seem. But if Caleb Martin's playing like he was in the preseason game, they might not be worried.
I got 2 words for you. Max Strus. Moving on to my number 8. I got the Hawks.
Okay.
You know, I think they're another team that can fall anywhere in that top 10 range, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Realistically, they could be anywhere from like 3 to 10.
But
Which is all of the East.
Mm-hmm.
But I see them. I think a lot of these teams have had an opportunity to get better as a team, not kind of like bringing in outside help, getting new players.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of these teams took last season and gelled, and the Hawks kind of are still shaky with chemistry, it seems.
Yeah, and that's why I have them at 7. They brought in DeJounte Murray, who I think is a really, really good player. However, like you were saying, they didn't gel together. They got DeJounte Murray, who's a new player. They lost Danilo Gallinari. They bring in Jalen Johnson, who's a new player. They bring in, I believe, did they get? Oh no, they drafted Jalen Duren and then traded him to the Hornets. But they bring in rookies. They bring in DeJounte Murray. They don't have the chemistry yet. I think they have a lot of talent, but they're not going to make it work. I have them as the 7 seed.
My 7th seed is the Chicago Bulls. I think the Alonzo thing hurts a lot, like we were talking about earlier. But they also
Six.
I didn't get my 7 yet.
Oh, who's your 7?
I have the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay, yep. Reese's Heat take was bad. 7 Cavaliers at 7 is the worst take of the day. I'm locking that in. That's my lock.
Wow.
You'll see.
they have a really good roster.
They do, but okay. Who do you have at 6?
At 6, I have the Brooklyn Nets. They
I do
have
too.
they have arguably the best player in the league in KD. They have Kyrie, who we don't know how many games he's going to play, depending on his situation. And then they have Ben Simmons, who kind of stinks in my
He's
opinion.
been playing great in the preseason.
Yeah, preseason means nothing to me. Shut up. It only means something when it's Jose Alvarado. But yeah, they don't stay healthy. The Nets never stay healthy, and that's going to continue. That's why I have the Nets at 6.
I've got the Hawks at 6. Adding a defensive guard really helps them a lot.
Yeah, Byron.
At 6, I also have the Nets.
Yeah, there we go.
Like you said, it's just if they can stay healthy, they could be better. If not, they could be worse.
Yeah, I like it. Reese, who are we looking at 5?
I've got the young Cavaliers, young four-headed monster, 3 All-Stars last year, and Garland, Mitchell, and Allen. My rookie of the year last year, and Evan Mobley. You trade for Donovan Mitchell in the offseason, but you lose a little bit of depth.
Larry Markkinen.
They're just asking a lot of Isaac Okoro this year, and I think that he can honestly make that jump defensively at least.
Yeah. At 5, I have a team that you already touched on, the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler is too good to lose that many games. He's been playing so good these past 3
Jimmy.
years. Regular season, Jimmy's a dog, too. I have Bam Adebayo winning Defensive Player of the Year this year. I think he's going to take a huge step defensively because he needs to. So I really like Bam. I really like Jimmy. I have the Heat at the 5 seed.
At the 5 seed, I have the Raptors.
That's pretty high, but I like it. I like it. They're
they're going to end there.
Yeah.
I believe that. They're going to end there.
That's what this is all about, isn't it?
I understand, but their depth is so bad, I can't do it.
All right. All right, Reese. Whatever you say, bud. All right. So why do you like the Raptors at 5?
I just think they're a talented team. I mean, they got all the players to do it, but depth is a question with them. So if one of them goes down, it's going to be tough. Why are you laughing at me?
Malachi
I'm not.
Flynn.
What?
Malachi Flynn's their
Flynn.
their best
Exactly.
guard off the bench.
All right. Yeah, okay, Malachi Flynn. I have at 4, I have a team that both of you have already touched on. I have the highest out of everybody. Cleveland Cavaliers. I love them this year. Love Darius Garland, big Donovan Mitchell guy, and I think Jared Allen's one of the most underrated centers in the league. I love the Cavs this year. I think they're going to be really, really good.
4, I have the Nets because they have one of the best players in basketball. They are full of drama, if we're being honest, but I think if they can leave that off the court and have the on-court things be on the court, they're dominant.
At 4, I have the Heat. Like you said, Jimmy Butler is too good to lose that many games. It's a little higher than you had him, but I think they can hang. They can keep going leave right off where they left off last year.
English is hard. It's okay. So we've had a lot of parity so far in the East, I feel like, as far as where we're putting people. I think this top 3 is going to change. So I'm going to give my top 3 right now.
Okay.
Ours are the
3
exact
I've got,
same.
yeah. 3 I've got Celtics. 2 I've got Bucks. 1 I've got 76ers. Celtics got a little bit worse with the loss of the head coach. I think 76ers are going to pull it together with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden. They're really, really, really good. And the Bucks are kind of right in between them with a healthy Chris Middleton. Giannis, the best player in basketball, in my opinion. Drew Holiday. I think they just lack a little on the bench.
Yeah, the Celtics at 3 for me. Udoka drama is really going to eat at the Celtics, but
And we're both
think they're
Celtics fans.
a really good team. The Bucks, I honestly believe if Chris Middleton's healthy, they beat the Celtics in Game 7 in the second round. And then the Sixers, a full season of Embiid and Harden, adding PJ Tucker is going to be amazing. But the biggest question mark for them, Matisse Thybulle got all defensive nomination, but he didn't play minutes in the playoffs because he's such a liability
He's
on
so
offense.
bad on offense. It's tough. It's like if Herb Jones couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
Which is why
What's
I
your
have,
3-2-1?
I have the Sixers at 3,
Okay.
Bucks
That's
at 2,
respectable. So we all have Bucks at 2.
Celtics at 1. I think, again, chemistry is a big part, especially going into the playoffs. Celtics, their whole team's basically going to be the same.
Except they added Malcolm Brogdon, which is a very underrated signing, in my opinion. Malcolm
Danilo.
Brogdon's really good. Well, Danilo's out the entire season because he tore his ACL already.
Thanks,
Stupid.
Eurobasket.
Shout out Eurobasket.
Bucks, same thing. For the most part, it's going to be the same team. The Sixers, James Harden being there, sometimes he's a liability because, he gives up on a lot of plays. We've seen him
defensively
throw fits.
The Laker defense.
Yeah, we've seen him throw fits, throw the ball at the ground and hit him in the face, and just walk the other way.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all of our NBA predictions as far as regular season goes. Give your finals matchups real quick. Who do you have in the finals this season? I'm gonna go first. This season, I have the Clippers versus the Bucks in the finals, and I have the Bucks winning in 6.
Give me Clippers, Sixers. Clippers make it. And
You're going 1v1 seed.
I have to I rank these guys because I'm passionate about
Okay,
their
that's
positioning.
fair.
And yeah, give me Clippers in 7.
All right.
I'm going to go. I just looked at them. These are the two that caught my eye first.
Mm-hmm.
Suns, Heat. With the Suns winning, Chris Paul finally making it there.
I'm low on both of those teams. That's hard.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna watch this back towards the end of the season, and we are going to laugh at some of our takes, and we're gonna feel really good about some of them.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna wrap up the Off the Dome Sports Podcast for tonight.
Hour and a
Honestly,
half.
been one of my favorites yet. I absolutely loved it. Make sure to tune in tomorrow, Saturday, 3 p.m. We're going to have Michael Lewis on here with Byron and I. It's going to be a great show. You got to tune in tomorrow on Radio House Studios and newrockradio.us. Once again, we want to thank our sponsor, Brignac Mortgage, Sean Brignac, President and CEO. He'll take care of all your lending needs, residential, commercial, investment properties. Find him on YouTube at Sean Brignac. Find www.brignacmortgage.com for all of those needs that I talked about. Thank you again to Brignac Mortgage. That's going to do it tonight for the Off the Dome Sports Podcast. Rebo, thanks for having this fun time with us. We appreciate you. You gave us great takes, some hot, some cold, and some in between. We had a lot of fun tonight. We want to thank everybody for watching in Radio House Studios, newrockradio.us. It was fun, boys. Tomorrow's going to be fun. Make sure to tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m., newrockradio.us, Radio House Studios on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. This has been the Off the Dome Sports Podcast with Bryce, Byron, and Mr. Rebo.
The Vikings.
Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you, and we will see you tomorrow.